Hi, I'm Brian, and today I'm going to be looking at one of my very favorite psychedelic albums, and my favorite by this band. It's Jefferson Airplane's Crown of Creation. And this is a German pressing. You can see it up there, Deutsch pressing, on the RCA Victor label, which I think was probably a budget label when I got it back in the 80s or so. And there's the label, the black RCA Victor label. And this album has seen a lot of use and a lot of things over the years. But at 40 years old, it might be time to replace it. But I have a very absolutely warm place in my heart for this copy. And now here's a band which was seemingly always contrary, and because of that, extraordinarily important. But they hadn't really, well, they've rejected the message of the summer of love. And now what we have is we're seeing the band go up in a nuclear explosion. And this is the crown of creation, with the idea being that human beings are the crown of creation, and look what you are doing with it. Although I also think there's a double meaning there, which is this is the band's crown of creation. It's not an album I see a lot in at the top of many people's ranking lists, but I wonder if that's because we find it hard to categorize. We have the pretty, perfect pop psychedelia of Surrealistic Pillow, then the acid rock excursions and experimentations of the throw it at the wall and see what sticks nature of After Bathing at Baxter's. But this one sort of maybe takes the best of both worlds. And by no means is it a perfect album, but it's pretty perfect to me. So after the disappointment of After Bathing at Baxter's, Bill Thompson went and bought them 2400 Fulton Street, put a studio in the bottom, and we asked ourselves, what could go wrong? Well, maybe it's a case of what went right in this case. Anyway, I love this album and I'm looking forward to exploring it in a deep dive with you. So let's check it out. The album opens with the majestically sublime Lather, sung by Grace, created by Grace, and featuring some of her most graceful and beautiful singing of all time. This is my personal favorite Jefferson Airplane song, and I sort of kind of feel as though I know it back to front. It's got beautiful guitars on here, magical sound effects and collages that sort of add to the whole experience of it, and some of the most satirical and twisted classic lyrics of all time. Of course, Spencer Dryden, the drummer, had just turned 30 at this point, and this was sort of an ode to Spencer that at 30 you're over the hill, unlike a West Coast pop art experimental band, which is 18 is just over the hill. And the suggestion that by 30 you should be getting a job in a band called Commanding Your Very Own Tanks. But Lather still finds it a nice thing to do to lie about nude in the sand, drawing pictures of mountains that look like bumps and thrashing the air with his hands. Now, I don't know whether it's an apocryphal story or not, but I've heard that this was about Jack Casady, who sort of got a little bit overdosed on, on the dosage one day and was found lying about nude in the sand, building castles, and then transported off to by the police, I believe. Whatever, it sort of got a moment on this song. So everything about this really works absolutely superbly. I love the sound effects, mommy. It's a gorgeous song. And if snorting the best licks in town, I can't get to that. But anyway, what a magnificent song. And then with perhaps an antidote to Lather, a sense of bringing people together, we get onto the next song, which is called In Time and written by Marty and Paul. It's a song about optimism, yet it also possesses some sort of nihilism that if we were going to be optimistic, we might have to do it somewhere else. The lyrics, long time since I climbed down this mountain before. Things I've seen make me things I've seen here make me want to go running home. Jorma plays with a modicum of restraint throughout this song and then bursts into this gnarly guitar solo right in the middle. It's full of his trademark vibrato, and that wah guitar is absolutely exquisite and biting. But perhaps the real star of the show here is Jack, who throughout this album has a fat tone on his bass, and the lines he's playing are so melodic, almost mitigating the need for a bass drummer. I saw way back in the day they had in Guitar Player magazine they had the greatest albums of all time or the 25 greatest albums of all time. And for bass players, this Jack Casady got in for his playing on Crown of Creation. And the voices together on this song blend in absolutely perfectly. And we finish with "Come with me, my friend. Come on now and take my hand. You can be my friend, but soon be in another country." Yeah. Then we move on to a really interesting inclusion in Triad, which was originally written by David Crosby for the Byrds as part of the notorious Byrd Brothers album, but was rejected. It was recorded at the time, but didn't make the album. And of course, during this recording of this album, David Crosby said bye-bye, or was told bye-bye by the Byrds, and left. This song popped up on Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young's Four-Way Street, and I know Cross has played it, but to me, this is the most beautiful version of them all. The sparse production, and when Grace starts singing, there's this ghostly type of reverb on her voice, which is incredible. And the production of this song allows every instrument just to lift and find its place to like drop little colors of psychedelia all the way through. I praise Grace's vocals on Lather, but I don't know whether she's ever sound more angelic here. But also, I keep coming back to that word, imploring. In a sense, this is definitely a more scary version for me than Crosby's version, because Crosby's version is one guy and two girls, and hey, free love, baby, we can all be together, can't we? Whereas Grace's, I think, pushes the political buttons and the social buttons in the United States and perhaps anywhere in the world a little bit further by suggesting that it's one woman and two men. And that's me thinking that it might be two men, maybe two girls. I'm not sure. I'm sure there are some personal pronouns in there which will give it away. And this is challenging the patriarchy, and it puts the woman in control and asking the questions. Lovely lyrics, of course, by David. "Your mother's ghost stands there at your shoulder, face like ice, a little bit colder, saying to you, you cannot do that. It breaks all the rules you learned in school, but I don't really see. Why can't we go on as three?" Absolutely sublime version, one of the greatest covers, in my opinion, that has ever been committed to wax. And to me, that's sort of like in many ways, the surrealistic pillow side of the folky psyche side, these three songs, and they make up an absolutely perfect beginning to this side of music, one that I return to all the time. Next up comes Star Trek, and this has got Jorma Kaukonen singing. And this is really the Star Trek for Jorma. It's a cool song. It's very laid back. It's got a really druggy feeling to the singing, and plenty of that acid rock lead guitar with wah and tremolo again. A friend of mine says this is his favorite song on this album, and I've probably never rated it as highly as that, but probably it's because it comes after that 1, 2, 3 punch at the start. It's a great song. My sensory mind is too old to cry, not ready to live and too strange to die. So stop your doubt, put the world on by with your hand. Kind of cool lyrics. And I suppose at this point, we've got a question that must be asked is, where the hell is Marty? I mean, Marty did the beautiful vocals on Today, Plastic Fantastic Lover, It's No Secret, and yet it's almost like he's in the periphery here. I mean, we can see him on the cover, and what's he doing here? Where is he? Where is he gone? There, he looks like he's sharing a little joke there, but elsewhere he looks as though he's got his head down and almost asking not to be visible. And that kind of comes into the next song, which is Share a Little Joke. And from the start, it's got a really eerie, powerful, discordant start to it, with the lead guitar, the drums, and the bass note, which is sustaining up the top. More Jack is incredible. And it kind of reminds me of something that Big Brother with the holding company would do. And I'm almost expecting Janice to start singing. But in comes Marty. Now, it's a very trippy song. I'm not sure whether it's a good trip or a bad trip, but it's definitely evocative and powerful. He sings, "A friend of mine asked me, where has he been? Where is he now? I said he's been set free, shares a little joke with the world somehow." And I wonder whether this is in response to sort of the general and the gradual nudging of Marty away from the star component in this band. He seems to be being edged out. I mean, even though it's taken 5 songs for him to get a lead, Is he talking about himself being removed from the band, or maybe he's talking about the nature of stardom and that the real Marty is sort of moved away and he's been set free. It's a super smooth vocal and has one great scream in it, which is perfectly accompanied by the band. Jorma's tasty as always. Jack's got that double bass fat thing going, and I love the percussion of this one from Spencer. And I also love his percussion on It's Time. Sorry, not It's Time, In Time towards the end. Really kind of cool. And the double time section and feedback right at the end is also quite freaky as well. And then we go into the final song on side one, which is Chushingura. And speaking of Spencer and freaky, this one's got it all. Listening back to it yesterday, it kind of reminded me of something that Brian Eno might put on Another Green World, but of course that came much later. It's very deranged and haunting. It's a soundscape that is presented. And they may have been straightening it out after Bathing with Baxter's, but there's still that sense of presence of that album in this song, where no man is an island. He's a peninsula. Yeah, pretty damn fine side of music, if you ask me. Let's whip it over into side two. Well, we have to get it rocking inside too, and that's immediately evident with If You Feel, which is sort of giving me the sense that Jorma had a new wah and he's going to really go for it because it's more of that acid rock wah feel all the way through it. But this time it's a snappy wah, wow, 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 rather than just constantly used throughout a lead break, although that does come as well. Marty's again back on lead vocals, which is cool. This song to me sounds like a bit of an improvised jam because it's echoed by the way that each of the instruments comes in one by one. And so we get the drums, then we get the rhythm guitar, then we get the lead guitar, and then we get Jack coming in on the bass. And as the song progresses, we get those slabs of acid rock guitar, which is cool. Amazing bass in here. But the one thing that might be lacking a little bit for me is Spencer's drumming. I don't know whether he's got the power or possess the power to really pump out this driving rock beat that the song kind of needed. Very good percussionist and sort of jazz playing and with his lovely fills, but I think we could have used a little bit more backbone in this one. I don't know. What do you think? Great way to open side two, and I love the message of the song. If you feel like China breaking, if you feel like laughing, break China laughing. Break China laughing. It's sort of the juxtaposition of those two things. You can have a great time while being destructive, I suppose. That brings us on to the second single, which is Crown of Creation. And this is directly inspired or borrowed from the John Wyndham book, The Chrysalids. And it seems to be a warning shot across the bows to corporate America that the hippies are on the way and you better pay them respect, because it might be the hippies, like the mutants in the Chrysalids, it might be the hippies who actually have the way forward in the sense of what we need to do in the future. But we know that what's going to happen is that the hippies will be attacked and destroyed, or the mutants will be destroyed as well. In loyalty to their kind, I love the two moments where it brings down the aggression within this song and allows the chorus of voices to shine. In loyalty to their kind, they cannot tolerate our minds. In loyalty to our kind, we cannot tolerate their obstruction. And that's setting up the counter culture and against the culture of the corporations, and the rebellious hippies against the conservatives so easily there. And it's beautifully done. Is there anything more we can say about Jack? I mean, this guy is absolutely on fire on this song and on the album. Ice Cream Phoenix up next, and this is a real return to a sense of surrealistic pillow, but also a sense back now away from acid rock into just nice, smooth, cool, laid-back psychedelia. It's got beautiful acoustic songs and folky melodies of the singers, but it also has a little Eastern motif that's supplied by Grace's Melody and Jorma. Why do I keep calling him Jorma? Jorma. I've seen Jorma play. I was in Chicago one night, and Jorma was playing there, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in the same room as Jorma Kaukonen. And I said, how lucky am I? I'm in the room with a member of the airplane. And then he basically played acoustic folk country and blues the whole night, which is not my bag, but it didn't matter. It didn't wear off. I walked out of that room going, yeah, wow. Anyway, where are we? The wall of your memory still echoes your sorrow. The pictures of sadness are not what they seem. Wow, kind of cool. I like it a lot. That's followed by the first single, and what a kind of strange choice for a single it was, with Greasy Heart, which is a diatribe, a polemic against the beauty industry and the plastic surgery and trying to make yourself look as beautiful as you possibly can for your partner. And uh, Grace certainly is telling women not to go down this route, but also to men. Ladies' eyes go off and off with a finger full of glue. Lips are drawn upon her face in a come to me tattoo. Creamy suntan, color that fades when she bathes. Paper dresses catch on fire and you lose her in the haze. These are really cool psychedelic lyrics, but as always with the airplane, with a political purpose in mind. Grace gives a stunning vocal here, really cool. She lets it out, but she doesn't overpower, and I think that's really cool. Again, a strange song because it doesn't really have a hook, but maybe that's a deliberate effort on their part to get away from the record companies and their demands that every song, every single has to have a hook. It's with a title like Greasy Heart. It's obviously not going to be a romantic pop song. Uh, don't ever change, people, even if you can. That brings us on to the final track on the album, which is House at Pooneil Corner. And after the ballad of You, Me, and Pooneil on After Bathing at Baxter's, is it possible to say a sentence with After Bathing in Baxter's without also using the word after? I mean, I just did it twice then. Who knows? But I obviously started to think about what Pooneil is or who Pooneil is. And I've heard that he was RFK's dog, but probably and maybe this is the case still, but the idea of Pooh being short, it's a portmanteau between Pooh being Winnie the Pooh with a wild-eyed innocence and naivety and optimism, and Fred Neil, the folk singer who wrote The Other Side, which they put on to Bless Its Little Pointed Head, and also Everybody's Talking at Me, and sort of maybe his world weariness. So maybe that's the Pooh Neil there, the two sides of innocence experience, the William Blake idea. It's an incredibly turgid, in a good way, devastating song. Again, maybe in a good way. I'm saying maybe because yeah, it's so heavy, but it really ties back into this album cover. There's nihilism and there's nuclear Armageddon within this song, and we're not getting off the hook with some of these more popular songs on the album. It's we have an ominous sense of feedback or feedback being played to start, and then I think it's a farfisa organ which plays, and we get the do bam 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 bam. It's like a military on the march into war, and his airplane coming out and going into battle for us. And the song goes from dark to darker to darkest, and then in the middle almost breaks into this like major key happy moment, but it is gone so quickly. I don't know what that swirling instrument is that's going off in the background, but it gives us a sense of police sirens and absolute chaos. It's very freaky and very suggestive of, once again, air raid sirens ringing. It's time to get out of the house. You have to leave home now. Um, some great lyrics as well. Everything someday will be gone except silence, that nuclear Armageddon idea. The earth will be quiet again. Seas from clouds will wash off the ashes of violence, left as the memory of men. Cows are almost cooing. Turtle doves are mooing, which is why a poo is pooing in the sun. From start to finish, this is an acid rock psychedelic delight. It's not entirely consistent all the way through, but the highs are so high that I'm more than happy to say this is my favorite Jefferson album, Jefferson Airplane album, and one of the great albums of the 1960s, 1968 in this case. Beautiful. So what do you think? Am I onto something here? Is it an underrated classic? I mean, it's not a masterpiece, but it is a piece of mastery, if you like, I suppose. Let me know in the comments if you're a Crown of Creation fan and supporter, or if you prefer one of the other albums. Indeed, that would be interesting to hear. I've been playing this constantly for about the last week, and it's given me so much pleasure. Now, don't forget that if music of any size, shape, or sound gives you pleasure, then I'm not going to argue with your opinion. In fact, we'll embrace differences in opinion and we'll talk, because that's what music is all about, sharing. My name's Brian, as I said, and if you like this video, please give us a like, and even maybe think about subscribing, because you know you want to. Yay! Until next time, hope you're doing really well. Stay cool, and bye now.